In the ancient city of Nahor,
History was written not by kings, but in the dust of ordinary days. While empires rose beyond the horizon, one young woman lived a life defined by quiet responsibility. To her family, she was helping hands. To her community, she was simply another daughter of the well. She did not know that heaven was already watching her steps.
in the Bronze Age,
Water was life. Every drop demanded strength. Every journey to the well required endurance. Day after day, Rebekah descended worn stone steps, lifting heavy jars upon her shoulders beneath the desert sun. Her world was small, shaped by tradition and expectation. A woman's future was often decided long before her voice was heard. Dreams were quiet things, hidden beneath duty. Yet, where the world saw routine, destiny saw preparation.
far away,
A servant of Abraham traveled across unforgiving lands. His mission was sacred, to find a wife for Isaac, the son of promise. Guided only by faith, he arrived at Nahor, weary and uncertain. Standing beside the well, he lifted a silent prayer. Let the woman who offers me a drink and who also waters my camels be the one chosen.
at that very moment,
Rebekah appeared, her jar balanced with practiced grace. She saw a stranger, dusty from travel, standing beside exhausted animals. She offered him water without hesitation. But kindness did not stop there. She said words that would echo through history. I will draw water for your camels also. 10 camels, each capable of drinking enormous amounts after a desert journey. What followed was not a simple gesture, but relentless labor. Trip after trip, step after step. Water poured into troughs as evening shadows grew long. Her hands grew tired, her breathing heavy, yet she continued. The servant watched in silence, realizing he was witnessing more than generosity. He was witnessing character revealed through sacrifice.
in that ordinary place,
Beneath fading light, a divine answer unfolded. The woman no one noticed had just stepped into history. She began the day as a water-bearer. She ended it as the chosen future of a promise greater than herself.
as the sun lowered over Nahor,
The moment at the well did not end. It continued. Rebekah welcomed the traveler toward her family's home, unaware that the kindness she had shown was already changing her future. The servant walked quietly behind her, his prayer answered in ways only God could arrange. What had taken place beside the well was no coincidence. And that evening, before her household, the stranger would finally reveal why he had come. The stranger revealed his purpose. He spoke of Abraham, of a son named Isaac, and of a journey to a land called Canaan. Before Rebekah's family, he declared how God had guided his steps to their well. The scriptures record this moment in Genesis chapter 24. Gifts were laid before them, and silence filled the tent. This was no ordinary proposal. It was an invitation shaped by divine direction. Her family hesitated. The journey was long, the future uncertain. Safety asked her to remain, but destiny waited for her answer. Morning came with a single question, recorded in Genesis 24:58. Will you go with this man? History paused for her reply. Rebekah did not ask how far the journey would be. She did not demand guarantees. She answered with quiet courage, I will go. With those 3 words, she released the only life she had known and stepped into a promise she could not yet see. So Rebekah departed from Nahor, as written in Genesis chapter 24, verses 59 to 61, traveling hundreds of miles across wilderness and silence. Behind her, faded familiar voices and childhood memories. Ahead waited a future prepared by God alone. Day after day, the caravan moved forward, beneath burning sun by day and endless stars by night, carrying a young woman toward destiny. Meanwhile, in the land of Canaan, Isaac walked alone in the evening fields. Genesis 24:63 tells us he went out to meditate at dusk. He still carried the grief of losing his mother Sarah. Silence surrounded him, and comfort seemed distant. Then he lifted his eyes. A caravan appeared on the horizon. Rebekah also lifted her eyes and saw a man walking toward them. When she learned it was Isaac, Genesis 24:64-65 tells us she descended from her camel and covered herself with a veil. This was not fear, but reverence, the recognition of a sacred meeting prepared long before this day. Two journeys guided separately were now joined together. The water-bearer met the son of promise.
Genesis 24:
67 records the quiet fulfillment of the journey. Isaac brought her into the tent of his mother Sarah, and she became his wife, and he loved her. So Isaac was comforted after his mother's death. There was no grand ceremony described, no royal celebration, only covenant, welcome, and love growing within commitment. The stranger from the well had become a wife in the household of promise. Rebekah entered the tent, once filled with mourning, and it became a place of restoration. Through her presence, Isaac's sorrow began to heal. Years passed, and another season of waiting began. Children did not come easily, yet Isaac prayed for his wife, and Genesis 25:21 tells us that the Lord answered his prayer. Rebekah conceived and gave birth to twin sons, Esau and Jacob. Even before their birth, two nations struggled within her, as recorded in Genesis 25:23. Through Jacob, generations would rise, tribes would be formed, a covenant people would emerge, carrying forward the promise first spoken to Abraham. The unnoticed woman from the well had become a mother of destiny. Rebekah began her story carrying water beneath the ordinary rhythms of life. Yet God was preparing her through faithfulness no one applauded. She left certainty for obedience, comfort for calling, and the familiar for faith. From the well of Nahor to the fields of the Negev, her journey reminds us destiny often begins in the ordinary places where faith chooses to say, "I will go." If this story inspired you, like this video and subscribe to continue exploring the lives that shaped history. And tell us below, what step of faith are you ready to take?